And welcome, you are with the Skeinz Diaries. It is Monday, the 31st of August. Yep, August is out the back door. We're going to say bye bye to August. Last day of winter, first day of spring tomorrow. And I can't wait. Episode 273. And you're with Marie. And best of all, you're also with Ethan from Get Flocked. And here he comes. Boom!
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm running late. I know. Ethan's
That's
like, are we
fine.
on for today? It's like, no, yes,
She's
I'm
like,
coming.
she's like, oh my God. Like, I have to admit, like, my usual group of people who check to make sure that I'm actually going to show up for things, which you think it would be like just one, but it's not. um, and I have them like deposited all around the country, as you know. Like, it's not,
Yes.
I've got you and Nape here, and I've got Kathy up in Gisborne, and Kathy who's keeping me on board, and then Emily down here, and, Julie in Auckland. And it's like, oh, I've really distributed everyone so well to make sure that I don't because, like, I am hopeless.
Oh, God. Look, you and
Hopeless.
I are little Hattie twins today.
Yeah, I thought you were doing it to match.
I know. Well, I'm not. The reason I've got the hat on, everyone, I've got the. It's been one of those days this today. It was frosty again this morning. It was quite chilly, and I was heading out the door, and I was running late, and I took one look at the hair, and I was like, yeah, today's a hat day. So hence the hat, because you
It
don't want to see
happens.
the hair. I know, crazy. We had a big weekend.
That was a big weekend. I have to say, I'm always busy when I'm at Cannes.
Yeah.
The trading was brisk this year, every day. So
Mm.
great. Like, the days just flew by. They're long days,
They are
but they
long
flew
days.
by.
Mm.
It was just one big yarn party.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
Yeah.
And it was so good to, as I mentioned, it was so good to see everybody. I'm so disorganized. I completely forgot my bag. I showed everyone on Monday. I finally, you will laugh, Ethan was laughing at me. There was Ethan, Kathy, and myself. We got to Sunday afternoon. And as soon as I got home, the first thing I did was have a shower and put my gym jams on. And then Kathy and Ethan arrived, and he took one look at me and he went, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
next minute, he takes off and puts his gym jams on. Poor old Kathy, I think, was feeling
Yeah.
left out. She was the only one not in the pajama party.
I shed my leg prisons, which is what I call jeans, which, like, they just don't agree with the thick thighed, everyone. I am small but thick. And the more and more, like, mass-produced clothes just don't work well.
No, it was, yeah, and so I finally actually got to knit something.
Yes.
Which was great. So I sort of sat down and I forgot to grab it. I was sort of bloody hay fever. It's driven me mad for days.
Oh,
yeah, the pollen's been crazy. But yeah, anywho. Here we go. I'm going to start this now. It was good. It was very good. And it was nice to see everybody, and the weather was perfect.
The weather was amazing.
The weather was perfect, and we got lots of knitting done, and it was great. And I have to say, I've kind of got my mojo back.
Same.
Except I was telling Ethan I went to go and cast something on last night, and it just required a stretchier cast on than usual because it's sort of, I think, quite a high neck and it wants to give it a bit of stretch. And it's a cast on that I do hardly ever, and it's a variation of a long-tailed cast on. But it's one of those ones that I need to get the YouTube out and just sort of sit there and do and just
We've
quietly.
all been there.
I know, we've all been there. And I'd had a couple of Chardonnays and I was tired and I just went, yeah, no. So I didn't do it. But what I am going to do it. I was just telling you, I'll pull it up actually and I'll show you. I better sign in and do this, so we can show what we're doing. So what I thought I would make, and this is me, I'm so backwards. Honestly, everybody.
I'm not here to judge. Like, I've got a stack of random stuff. Like, I managed to. I just want to point out that, like, if I move out of frame, you're going to see the actual mess because I'm very carefully, like, positioned so that the house looks serene. Doesn't it look serene and beautiful, everyone? But, like,
it does.
There are just bags of yarn behind me, like, everywhere.
Right, I'm just going to share screen because it's been a while since I've done a sherry screen. Right, there we go. Okay. Let's see how this works. There it is. Right. There it is. So this is what I'm thinking of doing. So this is, I know, right?
The other Olga.
The other Olga. So yeah, exactly. So, see, hold on. Oh, that didn't work, did it? There we
Yeah,
go.
that one's really pretty. I've actually looked at it a couple times.
It is really pretty. So it's called The Herbalist, and I think I mentioned it in a newsletter a few weeks ago. It's fairly straightforward. Essentially, it's just it's a swan show, so it has got little arms in it. The pattern's actually written quite simply, to be perfectly honest. A little bit of shoulder shaping at the back, head down, couple of charts to create the
Beautiful
patterning.
effect.
Yeah, in 3 colors, bees, flowers. I mean, what's not to like?
It's
And
just
the 3
relaxed
color.
looking. Sorry, like it actually looks like it's going to be enjoyable to make.
Yes, I think yeah, it is going to be enjoyable to make, and it's pretty. It's really really pretty, and it's will be perfect. The colors I've actually selected the dark tourmaline, the lotus leather, and the dried moss. Grey, I think, or dark,
Okay.
from Incognito. So this is the thing, is that I've
Oh,
selected yarns that are sold out. Typical me, pick
oh
things
my
that we don't
God.
have. But once I get this started, it's only because I really wanted to knit something in that yarn because it was so
Yeah.
beautiful. But the reason why I've started it is it's going, because of the stranding, it will suit a non-treated yarn. And we've got some really beautiful non-treated yarns at the moment coming out. We've got the new Fate, which it's the bag sitting in the other room, the Fate, and the new Soho.
The Soho, we got to see a little preview of. That is beautiful.
That is beautiful. And that, I think, will be, if you wanted to have a play around with this, that would be perfect. And I've actually just grabbed the Eros because that's what I'm.
Oh, the Eros is lovely as well. You guys have been on a roll with the new yarns.
We have been on a roll with the new yarns, and so I'm going to just pull the Eros out now. The Eros, the Eros has an error on the label, which was my mistake because I forgot to change the tension. But it's okay. We're not going to cry over this spilt milk.
Okay.
So this is the Eros here. So this is the actual undyed base, which is a slight sort of oatmeal-y colour, biscuity colour. But this is a yarn that we'd been working on for a little while, and you can probably see that one there. You can see it a little bit. There's the shine in there.
Yeah, it has quite a good shine. This is the new sport weight, correct?
This is the new sport weight. So the reason, and I've gone and selected, and in the newsletter I'm putting out, because this is Kate by Libby.
Yes.
And I had this sample knitted up in the yak yarn. Some people may have remembered I had a yak yarn from a few years back. And the Eros is actually spun in exactly the same count as that yak yarn was spun.
Oh.
But because of the tencel, and I've also checked the original yarn, this was originally done for the Cowrie, Zalana Cowrie, and I know the meta origin and sort of I had some of that yarn here as well. And even though this is a sport weight and the Cowrie is called a fingering, it is, as you can see, you've got the fuzz with the possum.
Very fine.
Very fine, and it's got a higher angle of twist on it. Which, and I all know how you like to higher angle a twist, but
I do.
Unlike our Cove, which is a sort of a more airy yarn with a two-fold. This is
airy and spongy.
Yes, whereas this is a 3-fold higher angle of twist on all of those folds. So it means that when you knit this into this 26 stitch tension on a 3mm needle, and being someone as you are, I know, who has done this finer gauge on that finer needle when you did the twigs with a possum yarn, what did you get, my friend?
Velvet. You get knit velvet. Like, what it happens is that tight stitch definition, really the only surface area is that hollow core fiber that you feel, because the others get so densely compacted that the possum is allowed to breathe. But I must say, at that gauge, it just lasts. It's so durable.
And you get that, it's that plushness. And this cardigan, I think, screams that, because it's got this beautiful fine fabric with this little eyelet detail. I mean, the pattern is inspired by Kate Shepherd, so it's inspired as a pattern to have a slight nostalgic vintage feel about it and be quite sort of quite defined, and it's got a good
Yeah.
clean stitch definition. So even though you've got this possum content in there, you're going
The
to get
roundness and the density will give you that for sure.
exactly. And when we knitted this in the yak, we got that, and I've not had really any other yarn. Probably the sock magician would do it, but with the color,
Yep,
unless you were in the milk and the Delavery, you want it, I think, quite clean and quite
I
crisp,
agree.
and the Eros will do that. So we've got some really lovely color combinations. Actually, Guy is in, and he's just saying good for Andrea Maori's tessellated. Well, see, look at
Agree.
that. If you wanted to
Oh,
do the
very
tessellate,
pretty, yes.
gorge, or you could even do something like that, gorge. So
Yeah.
there's 10 colours in the range, including the natural, and then a couple of. So we've sort of tried to. We've all of these colours bar one are new colours to us. We've actually gone and taken a lot of these colours from different samples and just tried to mix them up. Some sort of
Oh,
feel
wow.
nostalgic, some don't, but they're all
Yeah,
gorgeous.
they are.
Brilliant for shawls if you're wanting to do some shawls. But we wanted to put that extra twist on there to make it a possum yarn that is durable for garment knitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that sport weight too, there are some really great patterns out of Europe. Isabel Kramer especially has done quite a bit in sport over the years.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that would be a good substitute for my favorite sport weight yarn of all time, the Nature's on Stage Luxury, which is that it's a silk, tiny bit of camel and merino blend?
Yeah, totally. And Suzanne Jane's asking, I have some of the Polwick yak looking for friends. Would Eros make a suitable match? Yeah, it would make a suitable match, Suzanne, if you've got some of that. And yes, it would. And so the mix in this is 55% merino, so it's fine Kiwi merino, 55% merino. We've got 25% fine alpaca, so that's the really, really soft alpaca, because alpaca comes in grades like sheep. There's 10% possum, and we've added 10% tencel. And you'll say to yourself, why have you done that? Well, it's quite simple why we've done that. We wanted to get this beautiful, and you can't really see it on the camera, but you get this shine with the tencel, which is like silk, but and tencel's still natural, so it's still a natural byproduct, but we did it so it essentially
A
acts like
bamboo
silk.
byproduct.
Yeah, you get this beautiful glow. Actually, that one shows it quite well.
Yeah,
You get
that
this
one is the
lovely
best one so far.
glow to the yarn, but tencel doesn't blow the price out like silk does. And in today's age, you can't, I mean, we've got to be careful. I mean, we wanted to create a luxury yarn that was still affordable for people. So that's what I think we've achieved it. I'm really, really happy with it. So I'm popping that out
Yeah.
in the newsletter today.
Well, it'd be great too to snap up for some summer knits.
Yeah.
Some of those Caitlin Hunter summer tees would be great, especially in some of those color palettes you showed off.
Mm.
So, I mean, I would get into it.
Oh, yes. Like you could do a Tegna, you could do all sorts in this. Yeah, it is a really, really beautiful yarn. And also for those living in warmer temperatures as well, if you're wanting to do a cardigan, like, I mean, if you want to do a floozy or floozy 2 or Kate, as I do, I'm featuring Kate, Georgie sweater, Kapua. There's so many, we've got all of those available. There's so many different designs out there with the color work there. It just gives you some options. And yeah, it's just gorgeous. I'm really thrilled with it. It's only $9.95 a ball for 151 meters, so I'm quite pleased. So I'm going to start featuring those. I'm also got to draw that I haven't gotten around. I am going to draw the Speakeasy Prize winner, and I will get that announced because we're going to move into a new month next month, which for us is Southland is September. But there'll be more on that on Monday. I think we're going to give the girls a few days break. But anyway, what's on your needles? I'm going to stop blathering.
What's on my needles? So I'm actually finishing a second sock that I thought I had fully finished and realized that one night in a definitely not bourbon assisted state, I was tidying things away and was like, oh, I found the sock. And then I'll tell you all what I did. I was well through this one already. And then I put the sock down, and about half an hour later, I was like, oh, I found the second sock. Chucked him in a bag, tossed the bag away. Lo and behold, in the sober light of morning today, while I was tidying, I opened the bag to only find one completed sock. So, you know, blunders by Bourbon. It goes with designs by Chardonnay. Um, so there we go. So I'm making a vanilla cuff down sock. So this is from Crazy Sock Lady, who is one of the umpteen thousand sock designers, because sock knitting is its own weird microcosm of knitting. If
Charles is in the house, so
oh
he can
yes,
hear on that.
yes he is.
You're the king of crazy, Charles. So
Yeah.
if anyone knows about crazy sock knitting, it's our Charles. Yeah.
Yeah. So sock knitting, if you guys aren't super dialed into what goes on in all the online forums and stuff, there are like sock knitting competitions that run. I think there used to be 4 a year, but I think there's only the one now. Sock knitting is a cult. That's accurate.
Oh, no, we say this in a loving way, Charles.
Yeah.
Trust
Oh
us.
no, don't worry, Charles. I run my own cult. It's okay. We all wear matching slippers. Like, don't worry about it. The night shift is finished. So anyway, so sock knitting's its own little microcosm. There's all sorts of debates about, do you DPN it? Do you magic loop? Do you use the shorties? And sock knitters are weirdly and wonderfully passionate. They're the like aunties on the porch of the knitting world, and I wouldn't be there without them. But you know, I have to admit I like to make socks, and most of the things I like to make complicated things. Not socks. You know what? I hate to say this to everyone. You're going to shove them into shoes. Like, I see these incredibly talented knitters and sock knitters, and they're making these wonderful cabled color work, textured confections. Steven's recently gone down a sock jag. So there's been an explosion of his wonderful world of West knits onto a sock, right? But, like, just knit a plain sock. It's all going in a shoe. So, anyway. I'm doing a whole year on the Flock Online about socks, a sock exploration. So a big free form thing. So what I'm going to do is knit sock patterns and change one element at a time. So the world's most boring experiment, but all experiments are boring.
Charles just said my pants are shorter than yours. Yes, but you did. See, this is where Charles is clever, because you do the funky cuffs, Charles. So Charles does, well, they're not even funky cuffs, they're art cuffs. So they're amazing.
Okay.
Funny. Oh, and then when Guy's suggestion is just wear Birkenstocks with your socks. Who does that?
Oh, no, thank you.
You turn up in here with your Birkies and your socks on, Guy, and yeah. See, I'm the complete opposite. I hate knitting socks.
I love them. They're quick. You can do I can do a pair of socks in a day if I'm motivated. And I love wearing hand knit socks. My main complaint about sock knitting, and it's so funny because there's been lots of talk about travel knitting, because I did a whole podcast on it because I was trapped alone in the shop. And everybody's always like, oh, socks are the best travel project. And I give that advice all the time. I hate knitting socks when I travel. We only see each other when we're traveling, really. When have you ever seen me with a sock on the needles? Right?
Yeah, no, never. I don't think I've ever seen you knit socks. But see, then in saying that, I can't live in this glass house, to be brutally honest, because whilst I don't have a thing about knitting socks, how many, I have a couple of sort of shawls, like, yeah, exactly. So I have about
you are the worst repeat offender in
I am the worst repeat offender. I am the worst repeat offender. So this cowl is a repeat offending cowl. So there's this one, there's my Ever After. So those are the two cowls that I knit all the time.
Yeah.
Why? Because I have it memorized. I have it memorized, so I don't have to look it up, and I just know what it is. So there's this that I wear all the time, I knit all the time, and of course the Niada, which, shocker, what did I cast on at Can? Niada. Yeah. So, and Hitchhiker,
as I said, yeah, because that is like an array of hitchhikers to clothe the world if we needed.
So to be honest, that's my socks, really. So I can't live in that glass house. I love wearing them. I just don't knit them very much. Well, I do.
So you might remember, I showed up to Can, had a bunch of Kathy's knitting that she'd already done. So this was Kathy's night shift. She knit an original color night shift for my shop as a sample. So this is in the original spin cycle. It's super fun. I have to admit, this is probably going to be something I come back to fairly frequently. As a knitter, like I would knit this again and again.
Well, you knit a shifty. Well, you finished a shifty while you were there down.
Well, I mean, yes. So I
Here
finished
it
a
is.
shift cowl. It's not blocked. I was gonna block it. I literally got the blocking mats out to do it before, like, I went to get groceries this morning. And then I was like, oh God, if it's wet and stuck to a mat, how am I gonna show people on the diaries? So I held off. So this is my shift cowl that I knit this weekend. Cast it on Thursday and finished it on
Mm,
Sunday.
yeah.
Um, it is a great little knit. It was so much fun to make. I really loved it. I don't think I put it down until I finished, really. It
Mm.
was super, super easy. Again, Andrea Mowry. 3 skeins of spin cycle or 350-gram balls of any 4-ply yarn. And I mean anything. Grab any 3 colors of any yarn. And this turns out beautifully. It's amazing. She did a great job. That Eros would be a great choice. Oh, there she goes. She's away with them. Boom. So do think that through. Um, and then I cast on a night shift on Sunday. Well, I was at camp. Ooh, yes. See, literally, guys, if you're sitting at home and you're like, I love the look of these shift cowls, I see them all the time. The spin cycle ones are great. Make one spin cycle one if you're going to, and then just start banging them out. They take a few days. You could this could be your entire Christmas gift knitting this year. You could just do shift cowls and pump them out. They're knit flat. It's slip stitch mosaic, super easy.
Well, and the other nice thing about that too, and actually Maureen's just mentioned it. She just realised she's got hedgehog fibre sock wool she got from Ethan First Wool Fest. Here's the thing, Maureen, is that cowl is brilliant if you've got unicorns.
Yeah.
So go through your
You just
stash.
mix and match them.
Oh yeah, I've got a squillion unicorn. I mean, look, I knit this because I had a
Yeah.
unicorn. So you go through, you find your unicorns. What we mean by unicorns is that single skein of
That doesn't
yarn
go with anybody else.
that doesn't go with anybody else. It's got, flair of its own. You bought it in a moment where you were like, it's speaking to
You were like,
me.
ooh, 19 colors at once. This is a great idea.
I
I'll
have
wear
to
this
have
every
this.
day.
Yeah. Look, I am a serial unicorn offender, so
I know, it's shocking.
I'm mad. I have actually been going, which
Your
is
stash
why
is
I think,
crazy just for this reason, though. Like, because it's so many single skeins. I look at it and like, I can't. I only buy in 5 skeins or more lots, everyone. Like, I'm the reverse. My stash is all sweater lots.
I went through a whole unicorn skein phase for a while, and I just I'm now I don't do it quite so much now. So like I showed everybody on Monday. I bought 2 lots of yarn while I was at Cannes. One was a fibre spates, which I did in a garment lot. A beautiful sort of in these dark sort of tealy color, that sort of tealy
Yeah, it
color,
was
very
lovely.
me, with sort of a darker sort of wash over the top. Ethan's seen them, and then of course I bought this beautiful bright print from Sue Goodley, which I want to put into the poncho, which is going to get written up. Actually, I should have really, to be brutally honest, I should have cast that on last night because I could do that on a bottle of Chardonnay, not blink twice, but. Anyway, I know I was knackered, but that is what I'm gonna do, that print in that, and it was great because I know I'm now doing more project lots, but every now
Yeah.
and then I do love. Most of my unicorns are actually sitting here at work next door, and every now and then I'll go through the unicorns and I'll pull them out and I'll go, right, this needs to go with this and this needs to go with it, and I'll bunch them together or I'll pull them out and do something like this with it and just make it happy. Oh, this is great.
Hilarious.
Charles just popped in one of his sock patterns too, woohoo, in the links, which is great. Ray saying she's knitting socks at the moment with a sparkle yarn from Goodwill Hunting. Oh yeah, there was some great stuff there too.
Yeah, so much fun.
Good.
Well, so I cast on a night shift as well on Sunday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was our PJ. Oh, you finished, you're done.
Yeah.
That was our PJ knitting.
Yeah, so this is just, some super fun, super easy. Same pattern as the first one, guys. It's Night Shift by Andrea Mowry. Super mindless knitting. How many times did I screw it up? 3 somehow. Oh my God. But it's fine. It looks beautiful in the end. It was worth it. Only took 4 days to knit. So super big fan of that. I actually shopped for once at a yarn event. This never happens. I'm famous for going and like walking around the booths and buying absolutely nothing. But I was targeted by our good friend Lynn at Fiber to Go. because
So
I've
pretty.
decided to start spinning again. Because I've had a couple of years off of spinning. It kind of goes in and out of my life. Spinning I like because is really actually, as long as you have a place to put your wheel or a wheel that you can easily put away, it's really easy to just sit and spin for a couple of hours and put it away.
Kathy, sometimes reading the pattern is recommended.
You know what the thing is? I'm usually convinced that I know better than the person who's written the pattern. Like I'll get partway into it and be like, no, I can do this better.
I'm an
And then I
offender of
will
that.
admit, I just put them down and I'm like, we're done here. I'm finished with this.
Well, no, see, the nice thing about the spinning, though, sorry, getting back to the
Yeah.
spinning, because my spinning wheel's actually just sitting in the office at the minute, is that you've got the spinning, you can have the spinning wheel at work. So on
Yeah,
those quieter
exactly.
days, it's actually, I haven't spun anything actually for over a year, and I've got some stunning fiber from Lynn. I pretty much get all my painted fibers from her. I think
Yeah,
she's
her
the
work
best
is
roving
beautiful.
dyer. Yeah, hands down. I love what she does.
Wow. Okay, so I do have to say, our other good friend. Oh, sorry, these have already been being loved, so the one of them has popped out of its holder. Our other good friend, I had a shipment from on Monday just for me, from the amazing Bonnie at Union Fiber.
The other best roving dyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now hers can be quite a bit more tricky to get a handle on because she doesn't do them all the time. If you know anything about Bonnie and her dyeing, she has a wonderful, rich life in dyeing. Happens when it happens. So I was feeling very, very lucky to get these two. So this is a beautiful Corriedale. It's going to be nice and fine and springy. It's going to be it's going to want to be a little bit thicker. I find Corriedale. It's been a while since I've spun it, but it was interesting talking to other people who spin and how we have different feelings as we're trying to spin things. Because I remember Corriedale for me wanting to be like round and plump, as opposed to this, which is a gorgeous Corriedale and nylon blend, but it's already been treated. So I'll actually spin this into a sock yarn most likely.
Yeah.
Um,
Corriedale is lovely to spin with, though. It's got a lovely spring to it, and it's easy drafting. I quite like it because it drafts really easily. Yeah,
it does draft really easily. And the nice thing about the braids, guys, is they're already ready to go. If you're at home and you're going to be spinning, the loose fiber's nice. Don't get us wrong. But like, I don't know about Marie, but I am not patient about carding.
No.
Like, every so often, I have a dream of hand carding, and then I start doing it for about 2 seconds, and I'm like, right, it's like brushing two cats at the same time. Like, anyway, so I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a fun little adventure back into spinning. I'm going to finish this sock. That's about all I've got going on.
Stop
You know.
it. I tell you what, actually, the other design, because I went out the back to see where the cake cardigan had gone, and Claire's like, "Oh, we sold that ages ago," because that's what we do. Like when we have our samples that we've had knitted for the shop that aren't my wardrobe, that half my wardrobe lives here. If the yarn's long gone and not going to be done, we will sell the samples off, and we just sell them in store. So I was like, oh. But of course, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Everyone has imaginations. But I did also grab. Recognize this is the Himalayan shawl from Charles, and this is done in our Southlander Highlander heathers.
Okay.
And the reason why I grabbed this, because if you were wanting a beautiful, relaxing shawl to knit in Eros, this I think is a happy place to be. So
there we go.
It's it is just perfect and gorgeous and lovely, and I think it would be brilliant in this shawl. And this works great in the Southlander. It makes a beautiful kind of very Outlander style rich shawl, but in the Eros, I think it would be really plush and delicious. And it's just, really lovely, relaxing knitting, which, we always need relaxing knitting.
I'm really into the relaxing knitting at the moment. I think that's why the sock is so good. Like for me, not for everyone. Socks are just a mindless endeavor of magic loop. So
yeah, definitely. And if you are looking for, as I said, there's those shawl patterns from Libby, and actually do have a look at some of Charles's shawl patterns too. He's been doing a lot of shawl patterns and wrap patterns lately, and the Eros would be great in that. And I just suddenly thought, if you're still here, Charles, he may not be, because the cyclone's he's got a hurricane barreling in his direction. So I hope you've battened down the hatches, my friend.
I will be honest, I do also have several shawl patterns that would be great in that yarn.
Oh, go on. No, what
Two
have you?
pieces.
Because you've been doing a whole bunch of patterns.
Yeah, so I have a big 5 skein garter stitch fade one that would be great. So you need 2 balls of each color of the Eros in your choice, and you just stripe it back and forth. So it's just relaxing garter fade technique. And then I have a single skein shawl, which is just tip to tip, garter stitch and some eyelets. There's nothing to it. And I would say 2 balls of the Eros for that. And either way, you'll be thrilled. The other ones get a little bit heavier in weight because it's me. Brace yourself. But those 2 are my first fingering weight ones, but I do have others on the horizon, including a great fingering weight hat pattern.
Well, there
That's
you go.
definitely entirely ribbed on a 2.75 millimeter needle, and no one is going to like me by the end of it. I'm just warning you now. It is 29 centimeters of 1x1 rib on a 2.75 millimeter needle, but it's worth it. I made one. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The look on your face.
Yes,
Like,
you're such a menace.
Well, I can't help it. Just wait till they find out about the tubular cast on at the beginning. Yeah, that's
Menace.
the real fun.
Menace. You're a menace.
Oh, well, someone has to do it.
Well, yeah, I've just been. So, what have you got happening at Get Flock this week or this weekend?
Oh, we're actually kind of taking a breath for about 2 seconds. As long as we ever do it Get Flock before we charge into some other things. So Flocktober is coming. Get ready, everybody. So we're going to be celebrating the wonderful month of October with Flocktober. And that's going to center around a knitting challenge to knit something with yarn that we sell in the shop. Not yarn you've necessarily bought at the shop. We haven't been open that long. I get that. Yarn that we sell at the shop in 30 days. Now, every year I've done something kind of different with different knit-alongs and stuff like that. But this year, for the wonder that is Flocktober, we're going to be changing things up. So it's going to be a little bit more free, a little bit more fun. Come to the party and have a good time. There is some stuff to reveal, so I'll be doing that on Saturday morning, bright and early. It'll be great. Emily and I will be there at 9, and you will hear all about the rules for Flocktober, which I think all of you are going to want to get involved in whatever way you feel like it. Will there be a randomized drawing process to win is a question I often get. The answer is no. I will be judge, jury, and executioner. So you're welcome, everyone. Your goal is to try to knit something to please me, which is very easy to do. So we will see how that goes. And there's going to be some additional things, but one of the things is that I can reveal now, there's actual prizes, like actual physical prizes to be won. And one of them, because I was talking about it all weekend because I have a deep obsession, is actually going to be a Yeti bottle. So come play along for Flocktober. You will have a very, very fun time. Our good friend, my good friend Stephen, our good friend Stephen, West, has the mystery knit along starting. It's called Geo Gradient. Are we scared? Yes. Is that part of the fun? Absolutely. So we'll find out what's happening.
And is he using fingering weight yarn for that? I haven't had a chance to have a look.
Yes, he is. Fingering weight yarn for that Eros would be perfect. So you need 4 colors. It works best in solid, and you'll need 2 balls of each color. You want to arrange it like a gradient, which from the colors I've seen, you could do that several different ways. Remember, you can do color gradients. You could just go light to dark. You could do a contrast gradient, which is a confusing color wheel thing where you alternate contrasting colors to go from one to another. It's really beautiful when done right. It's a little bit of work though. For good ideas on contrast gradients, look at how Kwani dyes her yarn, or Carney dyes her yarn. Never sure how to pronounce that. Their long, slow color repeats, they do that contrasting gradient. It's one of their tricks. That's why their yarn looks so unique. Then, oh my God, it's actually quite busy. I thought we were slowing down. I lied to all of you. It's Frog It or Finish It September, which is something I run every year. So it's a 28-day challenge with a day of rest at the end to go through all of your current whips and actually decide what you're going to finish and what you're going to frog. Set that yarn free, people. Get those needles back. Empty your project bags. I do it just in time for spring because it's the only cleaning I participate in. I'm sorry to everyone around me. Oh, I don't do that. So that's kind of the news from us. Mystery Knit Along hits Flocktober news and Frog It or Finish It September. So actually quite a lot going on. Oh my god.
I know. Well, we've got Southland of September coming up, which will
Nice.
I'll tell everyone about that on Monday. But that will include there'll be a gift with purchase, as special packs, and
Stop it.
we'll be obviously doing some stuff on our own Southlander and Highlander Heather yarns. But it's just getting people back into those those beautiful, more natural. And I mean, and that's why I'm wearing my. Got my Southlander on today. So yeah, that's us. And I haven't even thought as far ahead as October, to be brutally honest.
Oh my goodness.
I know. We fly by the
You'll just
seat of
have
our
to
pants around
Flocktober.
here. Oh, good news too. If anybody is waiting for orders from the can sale, we've got an extra all hands on deck today, and we've got a double team running in the warehouse to get all of those orders out for the month end. So it should, if you've been at home and you've been going, where's my order, and we haven't, well, we've been respectfully ignoring your email saying, where's my order, it will be here. Everything will be out by the end of today. So that means that whatever the delivery window is to get it to you, it should be with you, pretty much for most of you, 99% of you, that you should have them by the weekend, or at least by early next week. So so it's great. It was a pretty huge hump to get that through, and the team, I'm buying the team lunch today, so I better get my skates on to go and pick that up. The team have had a pretty big couple of weeks, and just getting all that beautiful yarn out for everybody, so it'll be good to get that done. All right, well, we'll wrap this up, and we'll jet off. He'll be back again next month. Fear not.
I'll see you next month, everybody.
And I will be here on a Monday. So until then, take care. Have happy knitting over the weekend and cast on something new.